The streets of Iran pulse with defiance as a new wave of protests sweeps the nation. Since late December 2025, Iranians have risked everything, facing down security forces, night after night. What started as scattered frustration has become a nationwide roar for change. Many now call it a revolution. The immediate spark: economic collapse. Hyperinflation soared above 50%, the rial hit historic lows, and daily life became a struggle for survival. Even President Masoud Pezeshkian admitted his government was powerless to stop the freefall, but this movement is about more than bread. It's fueled by decades of repression, broken promises, and international isolation. The memory of past crackdowns, especially 2019, has only hardened people's resolve. This time, protesters openly reject the entire ruling system, not just specific policies. The regime's focus on foreign conflicts and proxy wars, while Iranians suffer at home, has become a rallying point. Chants on the streets now link economic pain directly to the regime's priorities, turning hardship into a powerful political indictment. These protests are unprecedented in scale, erupting in over 100 cities across all 31 provinces. From Tehran to remote villages, Iranians of every background are united in dissent. The government's security forces are stretched thin, unable to contain simultaneous uprisings nationwide. Even conservative towns and the Grand Bazaar, once regime strongholds, have joined in, signaling a deep national crisis. Merchants, workers, and rural communities stand together, transcending class and ethnicity. This unity is the movement's greatest strength, forging a new national identity rooted in the demand for freedom and dignity. The regime's old strategy of divide and rule is failing as Iranians chant for a free Iran for all. The demands on the street have shifted from economic grievances to a direct call for regime change. Death to Khamenei and end the Islamic Republic echo across Iran, a bold rejection of the system itself. Years of hoping for reform are over. The failure of President Pezeshkian's promises convinced millions that the system cannot be fixed. Protesters blame their suffering on the regime's foreign adventures, chanting, "Not Gaza, not Lebanon, my life for Iran." The movement frames the regime as one that has betrayed its people, prioritizing ideology over citizens' well-being. The core demand: a secular, democratic government that respects human rights. Iranians are tired of theocracy and repression. They want a normal life, free from fear and control. The economic crisis was the spark, but the true fuel is a deep desire for dignity and freedom. At the heart of this uprising are Iran's women, leading marches, confronting security forces, and demanding control over their own lives. Their fight against discriminatory laws and the mandatory hijab has become a symbol of the broader struggle for freedom. Iran's youth and university students, connected to the world through social media, are organizing walkouts and sit-ins, refusing a future of repression. University campuses are once again hotbeds of dissent, with students using digital tools to outmaneuver authorities. Workers and merchants have joined in, with strikes in the Grand Bazaar and key sectors like oil and transport, crippling the economy and adding pressure. This coalition, women, students, workers, transcends class, gender, and ethnicity, making the protests impossible to dismiss. The bravery of women inspires men. The energy of youth gives hope to older generations. The economic leverage of workers hits the regime where it hurts. Each group brings unique strength, creating a powerful synergy. Together, they embody the movement's core message: unity for a new beginning. The regime faces a society united in its demand for change. The world is witnessing a cross-section of Iran standing together for freedom. The regime's response has been swift and brutal. Streets have become battlegrounds. Security forces use tear gas, batons, and live ammunition. The real death toll is believed to be far higher than official numbers. A near-total internet and phone blackout has plunged the country into an information void, echoing the darkest days of 2019. Thousands have been arrested, including activists, journalists, and students. Even hospitals are raided to detain the wounded. The goal: intimidate the population into silence and prevent the world from seeing the crackdown. Yet, despite the risks, protesters show remarkable resilience, building barricades, chanting defiantly, and in some areas, fighting back. This is no longer just protest. It's a fight for survival and freedom. The regime's violence has only deepened the resolve of those demanding change. The world's response is mixed. Strong words from some, silence from others. The U.S. has issued direct warnings to Iran's leaders, signaling support for protesters and threatening consequences for mass violence. Some celebrate this stance, while others fear it could let the regime paint the movement as a foreign plot. the UK's response has been muted, drawing criticism from activists and fueling frustration among Iranians risking their lives. Western intelligence agencies remain wary of Tehran's potential for retaliation, but the regime is currently focused on its own survival. International support, sanctions, solidarity, and clear condemnation can embolden protesters and pressure the regime. Silence, on the other hand, is seen as a green light for repression. For Iranians, knowing the world is watching gives strength to their struggle for universal rights. Iran stands at a historic crossroads. What happens next is uncertain. The regime's fate may hinge on the loyalty of its armed forces. Defections could signal a collapse of state authority. If the regime falls, the opposition must quickly unite. There's no single leader or clear alternative ready to step in. Some call for a return to monarchy, others demand a secular republic. Building consensus will be crucial to avoid chaos. The risk of state failure and civil war looms if no transitional plan emerges. The world has a stake in the outcome. A stable, democratic Iran could transform the region, while collapse could fuel conflict and crisis. The struggle on Iran's streets is not just domestic, it will shape the Middle East and global security. The world watches as Iranians fight to write their next chapter. Their courage may yet ignite a new era for their nation.